We are making a Southern favorite in the kitchen this morning with Miss Lucy from Greer's. We are making meat and potatoes.
That's right. This is kind of our Christmas holiday dish. We're going to make an herb crusted pork tenderloin, and we're going to make some blue cheese, twice baked potatoes, and some horseradish sauce.
I mean, does anything sound better? You have twice baked potatoes, pork tenderloin, and I'm interested in the sauce you're going to make in the third cooking segment. But first things first, we've got to get the meat ready.
Yes, we are I'm just using one pork tenderloin today, but the great thing is all of our Greer stores sell these 2 packs of pork tenderloin, so you can get double what this is for less than $10.
Oh, wow.
So when you're trying to stretch your dollar any time of year, but especially during the holidays, pork tenderloin is a really great way to go. It's kind of like chicken in that it'll take on any flavor, so the marinade that we're going to put on it is super flavorful, and it's going to be really pretty roasted up for the holidays.
And you know, Lucy, talking about Greer's, you guys have butchers at many of your locations.
Yeah, we have butchers at all of our locations, actually, so anything that you want cut, you know, special, they will certainly do that for you. We still cut all of our meat and all natural pork and chicken, the best black Angus beef. So our meat departments really stand out, especially, you know, but against all the big box stores. Right. What I've done is added 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I just chopped up really fine a tablespoon of fresh rosemary and a tablespoon of fresh thyme.
And if someone, aka me, isn't good at chopping, you can buy the rosemary already chopped up, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good.
You can. And then I am adding 3 cloves of fresh garlic that I chopped up. And the same thing with the garlic. You can buy them in those little squirt tubes.
Oh, it smells so good.
That we've used before. Yeah, it does. And now it's going to look like Christmas in this bowl because we're going to add a half a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of pepper. And we're just going to mix this together and put it over our pork. And what's great about this recipe too is that you can make it ahead. I like to let this pork tenderloin sit with the marinade overnight, but of course you don't have to do that. You could just let it rest for 20 minutes before you stick it in the oven. But when you're planning a dinner or planning for the holidays and you want to get something done ahead of time, this is great because you can get it done the day before, and then on the day of, we're just going to stick it on a cookie sheet and roast it in the oven.
Wow.
And another
Sounds easy enough.
It is. And pork, again, is great because this isn't going to take too long to cook. You're not going to commit too much time, and it is going to make the house smell delicious.
And Lucy, I'm pretty sure that you make this often because it seems like something that your husband would like to eat.
Oh, he would. Luckily, I'm married to somebody that is not a picky eater, but he does. And I love pork tenderloin, and it's just a great alternative to your chicken and when you're trying to stretch that dollar.
Right. And when you have the marinade in there, of course, you just have to move the meat around just a little bit to make sure it gets all over.
Just like this. And again, you know, it's the holidays. We're busy. I don't want to have an extra dish to clean up.
Right.
So I'm using a Ziploc bag. And I'm just going to stick this in the refrigerator, and it'll be ready to cook off for your party.
All right. Well, we've got the meat about ready to get in the oven. We're going to work on the potatoes. And in the third cooking segment, we're going to work on that horseradish sauce, which goes along with a lot of meats.
It does. This can be great with our pork and anything for your holiday table.
Lucy's getting you ready. Make sure you stick around with us to see the finished product coming up.
Welcome back to Studio 10 in the kitchen with Lucy Greer, working on an amazing full meal here. We're working on those potatoes, but with the meat, it complements it perfectly. Tell us what we're doing today.
Yeah, we have already put together the marinade for our pork tenderloin. This is an herb crusted pork tenderloin. We mixed up a quick marinade with a couple tablespoons of olive oil, some Dijon mustard, a little bit of fresh thyme and rosemary and garlic, and then just a little bit of paprika and salt and pepper. And I'm just going to let this marinate overnight. But like I said, if you don't have that time, just let it marinate for about 20 minutes. And then this is great for the holidays because you have a lot going on, and we're just going to stick it on a sheet pan and roast it in the oven. And it's going to come out so pretty. And along with our Christmas meal or holiday meal, we are going to make some twice baked potatoes. And so I already cooked 2 russet potatoes. I just rinsed those off and put them in a 400-degree oven and just let them cook for an hour. And then I scooped out the middle. And you want to, of course, be careful when you're making twice-baked potatoes not to go all the way through. I speak from experience because the filling will come out the bottom. So just do the best you can, and if you have a little tear in the potato skin, it'll be fine. And now I'm going to
Can you cover that up with like duct tape or something?
Good question. I thought you could use duct tape for everything, but I guess we should avoid it in this.
Yeah, probably not the best.
So this is a half a stick of melted butter, and I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of sour cream to this.
I love twice-baked potatoes.
I do too. They are so good, and a lot of times, you know, it's kind of an extra step rather than just doing a baked potato. So it's something nice to do in the holidays when you're having people over. And
maybe
they're
have a
pretty.
little more time to work on cooking and stuff. Yeah.
More hands in the kitchen.
Yep.
Kids are home from school. People are in town. And then I just cut up 2 green onions really thin. And I have a 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar cheese and a little bit more than a 1/4 cup of crumbled blue cheese, and we have some salt and pepper. All we're going to do is mix this together, and these potatoes, there is, like I said, a 1/4 cup of blue cheese in here, but it is not going to knock your socks off. A lot of people are a little bit shy when it comes to blue cheese, and of course you can do as little or as much as you want, but we also have that cheddar in there to kind of balance it out and add a little bit more cheese. But it's really going to go great with the pork tenderloin and all the herbs we have in there.
If you wanted to get crazy, could you add a little bit of bacon in there?
You really could. And I thought about that, but I thought, hold off, we're having pork.
Right, we're already having pork.
But yeah, bacon would be great in this. And that's the fun thing about twice-baked potatoes too, is that you can put just about anything in here.
Except for duct tape.
Except for duct tape, yeah.
All right, sounds good. So are we going to scoop those in there then? And then how long would you put them in the oven?
We are going to scoop these in here, and I like to just do a little bit more of the shredded cheese on top, and we're going to stick these in a 350-degree oven, and as soon as they're warmed through and that cheese melts, it'll take about 35-45 minutes, and they'll be perfect for you.
All right, looks so good. Like I said, I love twice-baked potatoes. Excited about this cooking segment today. We hope you are too. The recipe will be online on our Studio 10 tab, so go check this out just in time for your Christmas parties and get-togethers. Thanks a lot, Lucy.
Thank you.
A great supper time dish here in the kitchen. Lucy, you're winning the hearts of many people this morning because we have a meat and potatoes recipe you have to try at home.
Yes, we have been to work on our pork tenderloin. We have our marinade on our pork tenderloin, which was our Dijon mustard, olive oil, fresh garlic, rosemary and thyme, a little bit of paprika and salt and pepper. And we just, of course, are using our plastic bag because it is the holidays and we don't want anything else to get dirty in the kitchen. And we are letting this marinate for either 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or if you have the time, overnight. And we have our oven preheated to 425 degrees.
Okay.
And this pork tenderloin is about 1.5 pounds, and it's going to take 35 minutes to cook.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I remember the last time you made pork tenderloin, I was so surprised that it didn't take that longer to cook.
It doesn't. It's you know, super lean, and it's of course boneless, and you want the internal temperature to be 145 degrees so it's safe to eat, but it's a really quick cook, and putting the temperature at 425 like that is going to give us a nice crust, a nice browning, because we're not going to take the step to sear it off in the pan first, which you can do, but again, we're kind of trying to get things quickly in the oven and get supper on the table. And we also put together our twice-baked potatoes. I use 2 russet potatoes, so of course this will feed 4 people. Or if you're having, you know, several courses in your meal, you can definitely cut these in half and stretch these even further. These have our butter, and we use blue cheese in here and a little bit of cheddar cheese, green onions, a little bit of sour cream, and those are ready to go in the oven. We'll cook those for about 30-40 minutes, just until they're nice and bubbly and the cheese is melted.
You know, with these types of things, when you have two things going in the oven, Lucy, you have your pork tenderloin, you have your twice baked potato, is it good to put two things in the oven at the same time?
You can put two things in the oven at the same time. That's a really good question, because what some people have the most difficulty with is not preparing the food, it's getting it out all at the same time. Right. So you definitely want to plan your meal out and think things through. What's going to go in first? For instance, if your pork is going to go in at a little bit higher of a temperature, and rather than your potatoes, you can put your potatoes in, even though it's at 425, but of course you just won't leave them in quite as long. Right. And it's really smart too to use those racks in your oven. And if you need to adjust them, you know, instead of leaving one all the way at the top and always using the middle one, you can adjust those so that you could put your potatoes in there and it won't, you know, have to wait till the pork comes out and then turn cold. Right. So and a suggestion would be, when you're doing that, I know when I do that, stick close to the kitchen. You don't want to run off. So if you have
that's what I think I do. I get distracted very easily.
Yeah, you want to keep an eye on it for sure. And the last thing we're doing today is just mixing up a quick horseradish sauce. This is going to be great with our pork or with beef tenderloin, you know, prime rib, anything. So I just started with a cup of sour cream, and I used a 1/4 cup of prepared horseradish. I just added a little bit of salt, a little bit of cayenne, and I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice and also 1/2 teaspoon of white wine vinegar. And that is going to really kind of jazz this sauce up. It's going to loosen it up a bit. And that white wine vinegar is so great in horseradish sauce. It's not an ingredient that people use a lot. Right. And it really makes this really stand out.
Well, this looks so good, Lucy. And of course, the finished product is right up here in the front. You can see the horseradish sauce. You just put it to the side along with the meat and potatoes. Let's hope I don't spill this out. There we go. Here's a good look at that. A great recipe to feed your family. I know it'll make a lot of tummies happy.
Yes.
All right. Well, we hope you were having a great holiday. This is a great holiday recipe, as all of Lucy's recipes are. Check them out on fox10tv.com under the Studio 10 tab.